my precious moons. Welcome to part 5. Sorry it took literally a week. I was working so much. But welcome to winter break. And enjoy this angsty love story. Love you lots. Enjoy. Later that night, Maki and Matsun arrived at their apartment in Tokyo in the same mood they were in when they left. They didn't speak a word to each other as Matsun grabbed a drink out of the fridge and plopped onto the couch. Turning on the TV, Maki stood aside and watched him silently. I'm going to shower. Okay. I'll probably go to bed after. Cool. Maki sighed and walked off, going to the bathroom and stripping off the clothes Oikoa had lent him. His had been ruined when Toki and Oikoa covered him in flour earlier as some sort of prank. When he emerged and realized Matsun wasn't waiting on him on the bed like usual, he frowned, his heart aching. He walked back to the living room, leaning against the door frame as he stared down Matsun on the couch. Thought you were going to bed. Thought you would join me. I'll just sleep here. Yeah, right. Come on. Matsun didn't budge, and he didn't look up at Maki once. Matty, you can't really be that mad at me. Who says I can't? You sprung this on me out of nowhere. You can't judge my reaction. I can when it hurts, damn it. Matsun sprung up from the couch, approaching Maki with a scowl. Maki stepped closer to him as well, both of them in each other's faces with growing tension. How am I supposed to feel after you say you don't want kids with me? I'm sorry, okay? I'm sorry that I said it so harshly. I didn't mean it like that. What? That you want kids just not with me? Because that's how it came off. I didn't mean for it to. But it means the same damn thing. I don't want kids with or without you. But you won't even tell me why. All I want to do is talk about it. Well, tough shit, Matsun, because I don't. Then I guess we haven't gone anywhere. Matsun sneered and moved back to the couch, once again ignoring Maki. He was just about to retort when someone knocked on the door. Matsun didn't budge, and Maki rolled his eyes before leaving to answer it. Iwaizumi? What are you doing here? I thought. Let me in. What? Iwaizumi rolled his eyes and forced his way in, shoving past Maki and making his way to the living room. Maki quickly shut the door and followed him. Bro? What the fuck? Iwaizumi yanked the remote away from Matsun and turned off the TV. He then reached for Maki and forced him in the seat beside Matsun. He stood over them, his arms crossed and his face hard. You two are going to sit there and listen to me. But, zip it. Shut up. They shut their mouths at Iwaizumi's scary expression. They glanced at each other briefly, but bitterly. What the fuck is going on with you two? Don't answer that yet, I still want to yell. Are you fucking idiots? I have the right to punch both of you in the face, so you're lucky I don't feel like it. If you ever fight in front of Toki and upset him like that again, I will kick you so far up your asses that my toes will tickle your tonsils. Got it? Their eyes widened with what Iwaizumi revealed, and Maki gulped fearfully with the threat. However, Matsun narrowed his eyes, challenging Iwaizumi. You just found out about Toki today. What gives you the right to threaten us over him? Matsun, it's not like you're anything more to Oikoa than a friend. Iwaizumi didn't even flinch. He just continued to stare at Matsun until he realized what he'd said and paled, ducking his head. I mean, you're right. But at least I have enough fucking sense to act right around him. They both turned sheepish, their heads down, as Iwaizumi sighed heavily. Now tell me what the fuck caused you to be such a little bitch. It's nothing. It's nothing. It's not fucking nothing. It's actually really important to me. And just like that, The two of them were at it again. Well, it can't be that important if the first time you're bringing it up is today. You don't know that. I could have been thinking this for a while. Oh yeah, I'm sure you have. As if this isn't just a phase. A phase? Both of you shut up. They immediately silenced. Looking up at Iwaizumi sheepishly once more, they broke under his intense scrutiny. We're sorry. Yeah. We didn't think Toki could hear us. We never wanted to upset him. We love him. I believe that, but you need to get your shit together. Either get over whatever the hell this is, or stay away from Toki. Is this coming from Oikoa or you? Matsun. Iwaizumi narrowed his eyes. He knew Matsun was just worked up from a day of fighting, so he let it go, turning to leave. It shouldn't matter, but if you really want to know, he would say the same damn thing. Call us when you're not being little bitches. He left without another word, leaving Maki and Matsun alone in the hell they created. I'm going to bed. Fine. Maki rolled his eyes and stood up, walking down the hall. Enjoy your couch. I will. Matsun sighed when he heard the bedroom door slam shut. He covered his face with his hands and finally let the emotions run. A couple days later, Oikoa was flipping pancakes while Toki was sitting at the kitchen table swinging his legs. Are you going to a job, Toru? I sure am. What is it? Mama said you were a famous volleyball player before you got back to Japan. Oikoa smiled a little and started another pancake. I was. Still am. So you're doing volleyball? Sorta. Would you like to come with me one day? Really? Yeah, it's never too early to start. I think me and I were started around your age. Toki's eyes sparkled and he grinned from ear to ear. Yeah. I want to play volleyball like you. Haha, alright kid. I'll make you the best volleyball player ever. Toki cheered and Oikoa laughed while sliding the plate of pancakes onto the table. As Toki started to dig in, Oikoa contemplated his next move. He'd been talking about it with Nakamura, but he was still nervous. Toki-chan? Yeah? Do you remember the other day when you locked yourself in your room? Toki looked up at him, suddenly sheepish. Oikoa smiled softly. I'm not angry, I just want to talk about it. Is that okay? Toki nodded silently and continued to eat his breakfast, glancing up at Oikoa occasionally. Why did you get so angry when I didn't come home on time? You had to know I was coming back. I wasn't angry. You weren't? No, I was sad. Sad? You told me you would be home at 12. So I was excited all day and then you didn't come. Oikoa frowned, watching Toki eat slowly as he contemplated. He felt terrible. I'm sorry for that, Toki. Really, it won't happen again. But also, locking yourself in your room is pretty extreme. I didn't know if you were coming home or not. But sometimes Mama would say when she was coming home and then she wouldn't come. Ever. Oikoa felt his heart break a little. He knew Toki had been affected by the tragedies within his short life, but he didn't know how. Not until now. Toki, I will always come home to you. Okay. Toki looked up at Oikoa and gave a small smile. Okay, Toru. I talked to your mama and I know you like to use your room to be alone sometimes and I get that. But I have one condition. Okay. Tell someone, whoever is here, what you're doing and how long you might be. Just so we won't worry. Toki smiled sheepishly and nodded. Okay. Just then, someone knocked on the door, and Oikoa smiled at Toki before going to answer it. Heyo. Hey. Thanks for this. No worries. Seriously, if Maki and Matsun weren't, you know, I wouldn't have bothered you. Cool, it's fine. Iwaizumi smiled and stepped inside. Oikawa took a deep breath and closed the door. Well still. Thanks. I had a day off anyway. Besides, you can't exactly skip your first day. Oikawa nodded and gestured to the kitchen. I made pancakes. There's some for you and whipped cream in the fridge. If you still like them that way. I do. Oikawa smiled a little and started putting on his coat. So the seagulls, huh? Yep. Really? Oikawa cocked a brow and snorted. It was a pretty good offer. I could have got you a place on the jackals if you'd asked. Oikawa frowned and bent down to put on his shoes. Despite what you think, Iwaizumi, I am capable of getting offers by myself. Besides, as much as I love Atsumu, do you really think I'd be happy on the same team as him? Iwaizumi ducked his head and frowned. Well, no. Oikawa stood up and shrugged. Well, that doesn't matter anyway. My playing years are over. Iwaizumi froze and Oikawa realized his mistake. What? Toru. Toki came running around the corner and barreled into him, hugging him tightly. I thought you left. I wouldn't leave without saying goodbye, silly. I hope you have lots of fun. Oikawa laughed and ruffled his hair. And you have fun with Zumi, okay? Okay. Oikawa looked back up at Iwaizumi and frowned. Can we talk about this later? I can't be late. Koa. Oikawa hugged Toki once more before waving and leaving. After the workday, Oikawa was helping Coach Nia close up the gym while the old man talked. You did good work today. I'm glad I made the right choice. Thank you, sir. It was really refreshing being the one off the court this time. Well, you have a talent for it. The players immediately gravitated towards you. Oikawa flushed and nodded along. My high school coach used to say that's what made me a good setter. But thank you, sir. It means a lot. Coach Nia laughed and slapped him on the back. Same time tomorrow? Yes, sir. Oikawa bowed and gathered his belongings to leave. It was late in the afternoon now, which he expected it to be, but he definitely wasn't expecting a certain call to come in. Still, he caught sight of the caller ID and answered it immediately. Mura? Hey Koa. Are you busy? I just left work. Why? I got a request approved by the hospital today. What request? He could tell Nakamura was practically bursting to tell him. She couldn't keep it in any longer. A visit. With family. Oikawa felt the air leave his lungs. He couldn't believe it. So. That means. If you come now you'll still have a good 4 hours of visitation time. Oikawa's face broke out into a wide smile and he started barreling down the sidewalk. We'll be there. I believe you. Don't forget my son. I'll call Iwaizumi and have him meet me there with Toki. Okay, I'll tell them that Iwaizumi is with you guys and he can come up too. You don't have to do that, Mura. I know, but why not? Besides, I'd like to meet the infamous Iwa-chan too. Oikawa groaned as Nakamura laughed over the phone. I'll see you soon. Like the speed of lightning, love. Nakamura laughed again and hung up. Oikawa texted Iwaizumi and continued on his way at a fast pace. Iwaizumi and Toki stopped outside the Miyagi hospital. Iwaizumi was looking around for Oikawa, while Toki became distressed. This is the big scary place. The what? Why are we here? I don't know. Iwaizumi frowned and opened his messages again. All Oikawa's text said was to meet him outside the hospital immediately. He was totally freaked out. This is where Momo is. Iwaizumi's eyes widened as he looked down at Toki. Toki. What? Just then, someone shouted their names from down the street, catching their attention. It was Oikawa, coming in hot with a pep in his step. Iwaizumi cocked a brow. Thanks for coming so fast. Mind telling us what this is about? You almost gave me a heart attack with that text. Oikoa smiled sheepishly and shrugged. He then grabbed Toki's other hand and pulled them towards the front doors. Sorry about that, but it was pretty urgent. We got approved a visit with Nakamura. Morma? That's right. We're going up to see her right now. Toki started skipping happily, his smile bright and genuine. Iwaizumi glanced at Oikoa, the details starting to clear of fuzziness. Nakamura is in the hospital? Oikoa glanced at him and frowned, but continued forward quickly. Yeah. Cancer. Stage 4. Oh. Iwaizumi diverted his eyes, guilt obvious on his face. Don't look like that. Like what? Like you feel sorry for her. But she hates it. Okay. As they continued through the front doors, Oikoa led them to the front desk to check in. After a long check-in process, such as COVID testing and sanitizing, they were finally allowed to go up to the visiting area. Where is she, Toru? Is she on this floor? Are we going to her room? Oikoa chuckled lightly and stopped their walking. He crouched down and pointed to a door down the hall clearly labeled visitation. If you go straight through those doors, she'll be right there. Really? I promise. Can I go? I don't see why you're still waiting. Toki smiled and took off in a run, obviously planning to barrel through the doors. Oikoa stood back up and looked at Iwaizumi, who was smiling softly. What is it? Nothing. Are you ready? Iwaizumi gestured to the room and Oikoa hesitated only a moment before he nodded. You're coming, right? If you want me to. I do. Iwaizumi understood the heaviness in the atmosphere. Even before they got to Nakamura, he knew Oikoa needed a hand, and he would always be there for him. Come on then. Can't let Toki have all the fun. He smiled gently and grabbed Oikoa's hand, guiding him down the hall. You're right. Oikoa flushed and ducked his head, but the grip on Iwaizumi's hand tightened.